Good.
All right,
Okay.
awesome. Hey, Robbie, how's everything?
Everything is good. This is fun.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me on our second episode of Unleash the Knowledge's new mini series called 15 Minutes with Owen. So we'll keep this exactly to 15 minutes. It might run a little bit longer, but I won't take up too much of your time and we'll get some good questions going and good conversation.
Awesome.
So, just quickly for all the viewers, I want to give a little background on you. Robbie, you are our second guest. You're the founder and lead strategy consultant for Peninsula Strategies. You have an amazing educational background with degrees from Harvard and Stanford, along with 20 years of um, strategy consulting and marketing expertise experience, which is amazing. Your focus though is on subscription models, and that's kind of been the niche that you've tapped into and built a career around. Your company has worked with um, awesome partners with Netflix and Oracle and the Wall Street Journal, just to name a few. You're a two-time author. Your first one, which I do not have just yet, The Membership Economy, is a best-selling book. Yes, we'll show that, and that's very cool because you've coined that business phrase that I've learned. It's now almost a buzzword throughout the business world and the subscription model kind of niche. And then your second book, which I have, The Forever Transaction, which I can see in your background, was just released in March. And this subtitle I'll read quickly is How to Build a Subscription Model So Compelling Your Customers Will Never Want to Leave, which is very cool. And I think obviously in the last 5 to 10 years, the subscription model has been super popular for many tech companies and SaaS companies and so forth. Along with all that, you're a sought after writer and a keynote speaker, which is very interesting as well. So we'll get going now, and I'm going to start a timer just to keep us on a good schedule,
All
not
right.
run too far over, so we can I don't keep you too long, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're starting now, and Robbie, so you've had a career in business, and now you're an author. Have you always had aspirations to become an author? And what kind of was that final thing that said, yes, let me work on your first book, The Membership Economy,
Yeah.
and go from there?
Okay. Well, I've been thinking a lot about college since I have a daughter who's graduating. This is a big time right now for graduation. And I studied I studied English. I studied poetry in college,
Okay.
and then I sort of set it aside and went into business. Um, so, I didn't really think that it was going to come back into play, and I never thought that I'd be an author. But what kind of pushed me over the edge is, I was a strategy consultant. I've been a strategy consultant for a while, and I was very focused. About I want to say like 17 years ago, I started working with Netflix and fell in love with their model. And from there, I started getting asked to work with other companies that were also interested in those same principles of building long-term relationships and forever, what I've come to call forever transactions with their customers and getting subscription revenue. And then I worked with SurveyMonkey, and I worked with Intuit, their pay cycle group, and a bunch of other companies. And I was seeing this trend, and it seemed like nobody else was seeing it. And
Right.
so I said, okay, I'm gonna write a book that will explain what I'm seeing. Hey, everybody, this is a great model. Lots of people are doing it already. It works with almost any kind of organization, and there's all kinds of benefits. Why don't you consider it? That's pretty much what the membership economy was. And that's why I wrote it. It was really just to explain what I was seeing, mostly for my own clients and the people I was working with. But it ended up going beyond that, which was
Yeah,
which was a lovely surprise. Yeah.
that's amazing. So pretty much 3 years into your career after you graduated, probably from Stanford, that's when you kind of saw, the subscription model really blowing up, or at least coming to more light to work on.
Well, let's see. So I graduated from business school, and then I worked in product marketing for a few years,
Okay.
working with what would now be called SaaS businesses. Businesses, premium services businesses,
Yep.
in the B2B on the B2B side. And then I went out on my own and started consulting, and then I worked with Netflix.
Okay.
And I'd worked with some, I didn't. I just want to say for people who are listening who are kind of thinking about their own, you know, what they're going to write about and what their career is going to look like. It wasn't like I said, I am going to be the world's expert on subscription models. It
Yeah.
was more like, I was working with different companies, and then, this company was doing some really interesting things. And the second company I worked with was also doing some interesting things. And I started to see this pattern. And over time, I moved into doing only subscription and membership business models, and also defining a framework to support all of those businesses.
Awesome. That's awesome. So for your book, your first, or I mean, your second book that was just published in March, I have the link to purchase in my bio for all those listening. But for those that haven't bought the book yet or are interested in learning about it, what's kind of like the one takeaway you can share now that you're hoping that readers would gain as they conclude the book?
I wrote this book after the first one to show people how they can build a subscription model. That's pretty much what it is. So I hope that after you read it, you feel very confident that you can do this yourself, whether you're a solopreneur, like a subject matter expert, or an influencer that's trying to build a membership around your content, your expertise, and your fans. Or if you're, like my clients, you're inside a large company and you've been tasked with figure out subscriptions for our, consumer products company, or our store chain, or our restaurants, or our amusement parks, or whatever.
Okay, awesome. And I'm still working through it. It's been great so far. I'm really enjoying it. But early on, you talk about, obviously, the technology is going crazy these days. The subscription model specifically is very aligned with technology. And I have a question for those that want to get into tech. They're distant from like a tech hub city like New York City or San Francisco. Maybe they're in the Midwest. What would be your best advice to those that want to learn more about the tech field, get involved, but don't necessarily are ready to move, and they're looking to network effectively and build more relationships in that realm, or at least learn more about the field themselves?
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is there's tons of information in books and online to learn. That you can kind of start reading. Read Fast Company, read the information, read the, even the Wall Street Journal has a lot of information about technology. There's tons of books about, every part of, technology is such a huge term, but whatever area you're interested in, whether it's, consumer internet or artificial intelligence or, virtual reality or, whatever it is that you're interested in, there's lots of content. And then you asked about networking. So I've actually created a course on LinkedIn for LinkedIn Learning on networking. Which a lot of students are listening to right now, just because they're trying to network their way into their first job. And what I would say about the networking is that you should have a network with a broad range of people. So you shouldn't think of networking as something you do right when you need it, like, I need to talk to somebody, I'm going to go network. Right. Networking is a process where you're building relationships with people that are trusted and respectful, so that when you need something, when you need advice or a favor or an introduction, they actually have a reason to want to help you. So what I would say to everybody watching, not just the people that are looking for a job next week, is invest in building your network. And you want to have people in your network that are hiring managers, people that are kind of ahead of you, that can either get you a job or introduce you to someone who can get you a job, or help you sell, find a client, whatever it is. But you also want people who are like you, peers who are going through the same thing, someone who can be a mentor, who's a little bit ahead of you on the same journey, and also someone for you to mentor. It's never too early to help the people coming up behind you. So when you're building out your network, make sure you have all 6 of those groups. And then it'll be a lot easier to, network your way into a job or network your way into a relationship.
Right. That's great advice. That's awesome. I definitely agree. And so you launched the first book in 2015 in March. This book came out in March as well of this year. Unfortunately, the virus hit, and you did the unthinkable. So I want to talk a little bit about that and your experience with publishing a book. I mean, obviously, the book was probably set to launch in March for many months ahead, and we didn't know that this was going to be what life was like.
18 months. 18 months.
Okay. Wow. So it snuck up on you. It came literally at the point where you're probably going to go on a book tour and meet with tons of outlets to promote the book. So what could you share about what kind of got you through, or still getting you through this portion of life and getting the book out, getting more people to talk about it, and anything you could share there?
Yeah. So first of all, um, when you're writing a business book, unless you are, probably let's say the top, I don't know, one of the top 50 authors in the world, um, your publisher they don't do book tours anymore. So as the author, you're creating your own book tour. And for someone like me, my goal is to reach the people that are practitioners of subscriptions, people that are actually going to do this. And so my plan, what I had scheduled was I had events lined up in New York and Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. I was going to be going, I had a bunch of talks that were scheduled. I'm a keynote speaker, so I speak at a lot of conferences. So I was going to be speaking in Paris and London, Boston, Washington, D.C., Texas, Las Vegas. Like I had a whole tour of conferences where I was giving keynote speeches. And then I had all of my other kind of marketing stuff, interviews and, webinars and going out speaking to my clients. So some of that stuff disappeared,
Right.
like the first week of March or the second week of March. And some of it was moved online. And then I had to kind of find other things to do. So, I've been reaching out, pretty proactively and doing a lot of webinars, and, I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Am I allowed to say that on Instagram? LinkedIn?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of, I've done a lot of work for them.
Yeah, I
So
always see
yeah.
you're always on live in LinkedIn or on LinkedIn. So that's
Yeah.
you're definitely utilizing the resources and the social media platforms to keep
Yeah.
busy and I mean to get the word out. So that's awesome.
Yeah. This is only my second time on Instagram Live. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
really grateful to you for the opportunity. Yeah.
To be honest, it's actually my second too. I think my last call with Jason Harris was my first. Um, which I mean, we're learning. I lost the video, but that's a whole another discussion. I'm gonna save this one though. We'll be good to go.
I know
Um,
it's like it's all learning as you. That's the funny thing about all of this live
learn by
stuff, where
doing.
you learn by doing. There's no instruction. It's just like you do it, and you're like, oh, I think I just deleted that, or oh wow, I am actually live, and everybody's hearing me say this. So
Yes,
it is
yes,
a learning process.
definitely. So outside of being a keynote speaker, writing, and working with your consulting company, what do you find yourself staying busy doing? Are you an avid reader? Outside of all that, always continuing to learn? Is it your time with your family? What do you find yourself doing outside of work?
Yeah, all of the above, and more of the above actually during this time of COVID, right? Because I have so I love to read. I don't know if you can see my little bookshelf over here, but
Oh, nice.
yeah, you can
Oh,
see all
that's
my books
awesome.
color. So those are just my workbooks um, in my office. But yeah, I read a ton, and I have three kids. My husband and I have three kids, and two of them were in college, and so they came home.
Gotcha.
So we have a lot of family time. We're having a lot of
Yeah.
family time, which is actually really, for the mom, I don't know how great it is for them, but for me, it's awesome to have them around and be able to spend time with them. And, we're cooking together and we're swimming together and we're playing games and we're watching shows. And so that's what I
Awesome.
do. Yeah.
That's great.
Love my Peloton
Yeah,
subscription business.
I mean, that's been the hot commodity right now. You could get
Yeah.
your full workout in. A lot of people that I just previously worked with all purchased one of those. It's a little out of my
Yeah.
price range, but I'll get one day.
Yeah, they're spiking right now. I mean, it's funny. A lot of businesses are really struggling, but subscription businesses are quite resilient, which of course is why people want to do them. And Peloton's doing phenomenally well right now.
Right, exactly. So, is there anything still unwritten for you? Is there more books to come? Is there a possible another company, or just trying to, voice more of the subscription model and digital community out to as many people and countries as you can?
Yeah, well, it's a good question. Oh, and right now, I'm certainly still like very deep. There's a lot going on in subscription and membership, so I'm very deep in that, spending a ton of time, writing and thinking and working with companies and working with entrepreneurs on that. But in terms of, is there something coming next? Yeah, there's lots more that I want to do, and not just in subscriptions, and not even just in business. It's funny that you asked this morning. Um, I hosted a panel for my business school class, my from Stanford Business School, and we have like the class is I think 350 people, 360 people,
Wow.
and I think there's 10 of us who've written books, who've published books.
Wow.
There's a lot. I mean, for business school, and some of those are fiction, some of those are children's books, some of those are kind of self-help spirituality, and then
Come
of
on,
course
say
some
what
of
I'm
them are
about to
business
do,
books.
man.
But
Right.
I think it's like for me, it was a good reminder that just because you're a business person or just because you went to business school does not mean that all you think about and that all you're interested in is business. There's so many other things to do and to learn. So I have lots more that I want to do.
Cool. Is there a number one book that you always find yourself gifting to friends and family or colleagues, or one that you can continue to head back to and reread?
Oh, well, I'm a big reader, so
Yeah,
um,
tough to pick
there's
one.
there's tons of books that I love. I think on the business side, one book that I find myself going back to, I'm just trying to think. There's a few, but one is Power by Jeff Pepper, which is really really good. It's because it's I think a lot of people write books like just off the top of their head. They're like, I know something about power. I'm going to write a book about power, right?
Yeah,
And I like books that are really substantive, where every page you're like, oh my God, that's so interesting. Is that really true? Oh, wow. Look, yes, 12 supporting points. It must be true. It's
right.
that kind of book. Also, Deb Grunfeld has a book out, Acting with Power, just came out. Those books, very interesting. And power just meaning the ability to influence the world around us.
Okay,
So it's not like, oh, Robbie's so power hungry. It's how do we influence the world around us, which of course is what we all want to have influence in the world around us. So
exactly.
those are two. Um, and I'm a huge Tina Fey fan, so I love her book,
Okay.
Bossy Pants.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
business book, but that's a book I've given to a
The
lot of
cover
people.
is appealing. It's
Oh,
like
the cover
with
with
the
her
man's
hands,
arms, right?
man arms.
Yeah,
It's just so funny. I like every time if I need to laugh, which I have lately,
yeah.
it's a sure thing.
That's awesome. So one last question. Timer's about to run out, but is there a personal mantra that you always, turn to, something that kind of gets you out of bed every morning to attack the day, something that might have been passed on from a mentor, anything of that sort, a phrase or a couple buzzwords?
Um, I think one that has helped me a lot is why not you?
Okay.
Why not you? That like
I
why
like
wouldn't
that one a lot too.
so yeah,
Why
that
can't I
maybe
do it? If this guy could
no,
do it, if she could do
yeah, why not me? Why wouldn't I? If somebody's going to replace Oprah, why wouldn't it be me? You know,
it.
that's not my goal,
That's
by the way.
awesome.
That's just a concept. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much. Robbie, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Quick 15 minutes. I hope that you're staying safe and healthy with your family and enjoying. I mean, like you said, even though this is an unfortunate time, it's also opening up so much time to actually spend with your loved ones and people that you probably haven't seen in a while because the life can get busy. I'm sure you're traveling a ton. You're always working in different offices and different with different clients. So I'm glad that you're doing well and that we were able to get this talk. And I hope to stay connected for sure.
Yeah, me too. Great to talk to you, Owen.
Awesome. All right, Robbie. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.